Welcome to Sisterhood Check-in. I am your author and coach, Nadira Lewis, and I am so excited that you have taken the opportunity to spend Friday, again, another Friday, with us here on the Sisterhood Check-in broadcast. If you are watching us via YouTube, make sure you click the like and share button. And if you are watching us on, click the subscribe button and make sure you hit the notification button so that you can be notified every time we upload a new video. If you are watching us via Facebook, make sure you click the like and share if you've been blessed by the content that you have been receiving this far. All right, so I just wanted to tell you guys, I am just I feel really good this weekend. I've had a lot of time to reflect on some things that have gone through in my heart and in my mind through this week. And I just want to kind of share before I introduce my guest, because tonight we have with us Carolyn Taylor, awesome woman of God. I cannot wait to dialogue with her and find out some of the awesome things that has been going on in her life. But before I do that, I wanted to kind of share with you some of my thoughts that I thought maybe this can help somebody. Because sometimes when we deal with different circumstances or different things, where there's something in our mind and our heart, you just never know who it might help. So sometimes being able to be open and transparent and sharing that experience with somebody else might help. So I hope this helps you the way it did me. But I wanted to talk about how our greatest power is influence. I want you to hear that again. Our greatest power is influence. When you think about Jesus and him performing all the miracles in front of the disciples, he was always showing the disciples what they were capable of doing if they believed in him. He showed them that they had power over their circumstance and that they had the ability to overturn anything that was going on in their life through the power of God. So when he would heal the sick, he would look at them and tell them, you can do this too. When he would, when he walked on water, he told Peter, you have the ability to do this too. So I want you to know that whatever it is that you're desiring to do, you need a visual, an example, and understanding through other people or through examples of the word of God to help you understand that when you begin to overcome areas in your mind where you feel discouraged or defeated, I want you to be reminded that you have the ability to change whatever circumstance that you have. You have the ability to overcome whatever circumstances that you're going through the power of God. You have the ability to exercise your right to control your environment. If things are not going the way you want them to in your life, whether it's in your personal life or in your business, you have the ability to change the trajectory of where you want to go or where you want to be. Also, I want you to know that you are not going to go any farther than your personal development. If you think you can't, then you can't. If you think you can, then you will. So I want you to look at some things, look at some goals, or look at some desires or dreams that you may have been thinking about and pondering on and figuring out, how can I reach that particular destination? How can I get to be to a point of influence in other people's lives? How can I be an influence to my children? How can I be influence to the people on my job? How can I be an influence to the people that are in my community? Well, the best way to be an influence is to do what Jesus did. When you begin to see yourself overcoming circumstances, when you begin to see yourself visualizing yourself being in a different place, then you start to gain control over the struggle or the battlefield in your mind that prevents you from being there. When you discover who you are, your confidence emerges from an understanding of who you are, and then you begin to develop an awareness of your true capability and your ability, right? So I want you to know that your self-esteem derives from self-discovery, and it sets you free from the assessments of other people. When you begin to put too much emphasis on how people think or feel about you as an individual, then what happens is you begin to release all your power and all your authority that God has given you to that particular thing or person. And then what happens is you start to feel defeated because you feel like you have not met up to their standards of how they see you. And I don't want you to get that confused with mentorship, because I believe that God gives people, puts examples in front of us, just as he was an example, as a way to look back and see the possibilities of where you can go. So don't use that, and don't use what I said in a prideful manner and think that I don't need anybody. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, don't determine your self-worth or determine your capabilities or abilities based on somebody's opinion of who you are. But what I do want you to do is build your confidence on this one solid thing, that you were made in the image and the likeness of God. And anything that God has created or given you the stewardship to do, that you have the ability to do that. And you have to be like one of those disciples where you begin to look at the examples of what he did and look at how he changed people's life because of his influence. You are only going to be influential to the point to where you work on governing yourself and being able to take control over fear, anxiety, discouragement, or whatever it is that may try to bombard your mind and make you feel like you cannot reach the goal where you need to be. So I just wanted to take some time, and I hope that helps somebody. I can go on and on and on, but I don't want to do that because we have special guests with us, Carolyn Taylor, and I'm excited to be able to dialogue with her. Carolyn is an awesome woman of God, and she has accomplished many different things in her life. And I want you to be able to have that opportunity to step into our conversation and listen in as we discuss some of the challenges that she's gone through. And my desire is that you become encouraged, and that you begin to see your capabilities, and that you begin to seek God and to be able for guidance in how to operate in your abilities, so that you're governed by the possibilities of what you can be and not by the discouragement that you see based on circumstantial things. So without further ado, I would like to, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest. But before we do that, I have something special just for you.
Planning for college is an exciting moment in any student's life. It's the time when you learn to stand on your own and make so many choices for your future. Whether it is choosing the right school, discovering scholarship opportunities, meeting college test prep expectations, or establishing your career goals. There is no better time than now to get organized and to start planning. Are you academically ready to apply for college? Let the Office of Excellence be your college resource guide.
And we are back with our special guest, Carolyn Taylor. Woo!
Hi. How you doing?
I am amazing. I've had a lot of time this week to reflect on me, reflect on some things that I needed to do regarding me. And where I would get discouraged and shut down, I actually feel encouraged. And I think that's a part of growth. I think when you're able to see yourself as you are in a realistic way, you're able to accept the fact that you're able to accept the changes that you need to be made. It becomes more of an encouragement than it is a discouragement. So I'm doing really good. I feel like I'm heading in the direction, continuously heading in the direction where I need to be. And so that does a lot for me. So I'm just looking forward to seeing what God's going to do. I don't know how my life is going to end up, but I'm ready every day.
I know that's right.
I'm suited and ready.
I know that's right.
And that's just how I feel. I'm just really excited. So Carolyn, help my audience understand, and I say this to every guest that comes, help us understand who you are and how you got to where you are today.
Okay. I am Carolyn Taylor. I'm a native New Yorker, now residing in Georgia with my husband of 26 years and two wonderful children. One have graduated from college already, and the other one she'll be a senior this year in college. We're very excited about that. I'm a life coach. What else? Let's see. I'm a future author, a mentor, a speaker. I am that woman whom you would want to have by your side when you're going through something and you don't want all your business out in the street. I'm that
Mhm.
shoulder. I'm that person you can lean on. I'm that person you can call on. I believe in helping and uplifting sisters, period.
Yeah, definitely. I like that. I like the fact that you said that I'm that sister. I'm that
Hmm.
one you can go to and you can tell, and you don't have to have your business everywhere.
Hmm.
I think that is really crucial because I think what happens is we lost the sense of, people aren't really sharing what they're going through like they used to.
Exactly.
And I believe it's like that because we've lost trust in being able to open to be vulnerable. And,
Exactly.
and I think what happens is most people don't understand that it takes a lot to be vulnerable. It takes a lot to say I'm struggling with this or that I'm needing help with this. And sometimes it's hard to determine if what you're hearing is really help or if it's criticism. And so I think sometimes it takes the reassurance of letting a person know and being able to live as an example to where even if you don't say it, that your life shows and demonstrates that everything that I care and
Exactly.
and that I'm concerned and to help you realize that your sense of whatever you're going through is valid. It is true because we try to convince people that they're not feeling what they're feeling,
Hmm.
and instead of kind of like, I think what we need to do is just focus on the fact that it is their current reality. And as a life coach, being able to take a person from being from their current reality to just being able to expose them to something different takes patience.
It does. And it takes you listening to what they're saying to you and
Mhm.
not judging them on what they're saying.
Right.
You can't make their reality not true to them because it is what they're living through. You have to, understand what they're going through and be able to either just listen to them sometime and they understand that you're listening and they feel that you're listening and not judging them on what they're saying.
Right.
It takes a lot of, that just listening really. I listen very well. And a lot of people think that I'm really quiet because I don't talk a lot, and I don't talk a lot because I do a lot of listening, especially when I'm with a bunch of people, whatever. I do a lot of listening to hear what people are really saying because people talk and you hear what they're saying and they're not really trying to say what they're saying, but I hear what they're saying and I'm like, okay. And then when I talk to them separately, they're like, okay, how do you know that? How did you know that? Where did you get that from? And I said, because I heard what you said. And they be like, yeah. And then they start to talk to me and let it out what's going on and all of that. And I'm able, to sit down with them and we just have a good conversation of what's going on with them. And they feel good about themselves.
Exactly. So tell us about your life. How you were you always a listener? Did you have some moments in your life where you struggled to become a listener? Where there's some situations or circumstances where it may have not been easy, and
Well,
then life taught you over time? Come on, Carolyn.
Well, my husband would say I was not always a listener, but I say differently. He would tell you, he would say, no, she don't listen all the time. But I don't know exactly when I started listening. It was a point in my life where I started noticing that I was able to help people and listen to them and get them through situations and just be that calm for them when they were going through things. I started noticing, and it was brought to my attention, and I was like, okay, but no, that's not me. I don't have time for that, because I'm that person who people would say, I don't like people, and it's not that I don't like people. It's just that I'm very quiet. I listen more than I talk. And I don't know exactly when it became like evident to me. It was a struggle. It was a lot of prayer. It was a lot of disobedience to God. And I was like, okay. And he was like, you're going to do this whether you want to or not. So I had to finally give in. And I was like, okay, well, we're going to do this. And then I became a life coach. I was a stay-at-home mother for probably like 14 years. So I had a lot of time, to sit and think, about who I am, what I want to do, and all of that. And I went to a life coaching course, and I really enjoyed it. And I was like, well, I do it anyway, so I may as well go ahead and get certified and do all of that. So that I became a life coach, and I just enjoy doing it. I do it every day. I talk to people every day. I talk to my clients. They give me great feedback. It's just something that God had placed in me to do, and he aligned me with a man who also has the same desires to do the same thing. We are also marriage coaches. So we coach people in marriage before they get married, after they get married. We have had so many success stories with that. It's just amazing how God has used us to move into different directions and use me to mentor to people, women especially. I'm especially mentor to women. Because we are such giving spirits, and we tend to forget that if we don't take care of ourselves, we're not going to be able to help others. Absolutely. So I try to let women know that if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't sit down and just have moments for yourself, don't always say, when somebody say, how you doing? Oh, I'm busy. I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Right. Take time for yourself. You don't always have to be busy. I don't personally want to be busy. I want to have that time where I'm relaxing and have that moment where I can sit down and have a moment for myself and enjoy my family, enjoy conversations with my friends, call my girlfriends or whatever. I want to be able to have that moment where I can stay in contact with everyone. Yeah. And sometimes we just don't have that moment because we're so busy trying to be busy doing whatever it is that society say we should be doing.
Yeah. I think that's true, because I think can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I think as women, I just think a part of our makeup, whether it's from our family, whether it's from our mothers or strong women around us, we teach women how to be strong, or how to get through, when you're going through a bad marriage, or when you're going through discouragement. It's always how to get through. But sometimes I think part of getting through is acknowledging your need to sit down somewhere. Yes. And not always be in control. Yeah. So we build this, what we consider to be really a boss attitude. And it's really not a boss attitude. It's more of a insecurity that we've wrapped in a boss attitude, because we feel like as long as we're in control, we're doing the darn thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not realizing that, you might be doing the darn thing, but you are also wearing yourself out. You're not being true to who you are. And what happens is behind the scenes, you're about to faint and pass out, And that's a lesson I learned even in the past couple of weeks. I was always feeling like, because I've always been the type of person that always wanted to try to make sure things are in order, trying to get stuff situated. And so it was easy for me to go into overwhelm because I didn't know how to balance. Yeah. And I always felt like I had to be doing something. I think that just comes from, we're from up north. So we've got that go get it.
Hustle. Yeah. Gotta go.
And so that was my thing. I felt like as long as I was going and making it happen, that I felt like I was being, doing everything that I needed to be. But what I realized is that sometimes you have to just sit back and just not try to be in control of everything. It doesn't mean that you can't accomplish some things, but you have to exercise balance. That's one of the key things. Be the boss, do whatever you got to do. But balance is what I've learned, even when my kids were young, my older kids were younger. And I was always going. And it was one of my really good girlfriends. She said to me, Nadira, you need to sit down. She was like, you don't need to go today. And I'm like, no, because I got to go because I'm doing this. And she was like, no, I think you should really just sit down. And I thank God for her really just being bold enough and from a loving place to tell me that, because I felt like, you don't understand. I got to this, it ain't happening unless I'm there.
Yeah, exactly. I got to be going. I got to be moving. It's all about me.
But we can't confuse always being moving with being productive,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You have to understand that you have to be still. And if you're not being still, you're not hearing what God is really telling you what to
Oh
do.
my gosh.
You're
That's
not hearing it because you're busy moving. So how can you understand and hear what he's saying if you're busy on the go? You're busy moving, you're busy doing that. You got to be still. You got to hear what he's saying to you. And I will shut down in a heartbeat and don't call me, don't text me. I'm just going to sit here for a week or two and it's just going to be me. And I will do that. And then I'll come back and say, okay, I took my time. And and if people text me and say, what's going on? I'm having a moment. I'm having my quiet time right now. I'll be back. You have to take that time. I've learned to take that time. And it's not selfish. It's not selfish. But being a stay-at-home mom, when it was like I was always moving, always doing. And that's a hard job. Let's just put that out there too.
I want to talk.
All you stay-at-home moms,
Yes.
y'all are doing it. It's a hard job. It's not easy. And people think, oh, you're not doing that. You just get up, you're working. You're working your tail off 24/7 because you don't get a chance not to do that. You're doing what you not to do anything. You're moving all the time. So it was like I was always moving. I was always doing. And then toward that time when it was coming time for me to go back into the working field, that was like a struggle for me too, because I was always with them, always moving, always making sure they're okay and all of that. And then it was like, okay, now I'm going to put this in somebody else's hand. But God blessed me with a wonderful husband whom, when I said I was going back to work, it was like, okay, if I go back to work, the children are now going to be your responsibility. You're going to take them to the doctor. You're going to do this. And he stepped in. He did everything he could do and everything he had to do to take care of them, to make it easy for me. And that helped me also to stay focused on what I needed to do in life, and what God had for me. It was just because everything was always them, making sure they're taken care of, making sure the household is taken care of, everybody but myself. And I didn't really have that time to sit down and think about what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be, and all of that. And when that time came, it was wonderful because it was available for me. And I was like, okay, I can do this now. And doors just started opening, and God just started blessing me with wonderful things and people, and just putting people in my life that, helped me move and create things. And I'm working on this book, and girl, we spoke about the book the other day. It's coming.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I love being able to talk with women in their process, because it's good. You have there's different seasons where it's good when you hear about what happens afterwards. But I don't know. I'm drawn by the process because. And I think I'm drawn by the process because because of my own process and what I've gone through, because there's certain strengths that we gather.
Exactly.
There's certain lessons that we learn in the process, and especially as mothers, because we live in a society now where we're driven by success. Not really for mothers, especially. We're always torn between fulfilling what society considers to be success.
Exactly.
And being successful as a parent and a wife at the same time, and juggling that balance has always been difficult. And I've had to really, really, really come to terms and realize, because I think a lot of my failure in the beginning of my life was because I was always I knew I had a vision. I knew that I had a vision of my life being in order. I had a vision of being a great parent. I had a vision of being a great wife. I had a vision of having a business and being the boss chick. But what I realize is that sometimes you have, in order to exercise balance, you have to step back and figure out, first of all, if you have children, you are a mother first.
First and foremost. Make no mistake.
And I had to learn that the hard way, because I was so busy trying to be the boss chick because I'm driven and motivated by success in terms of fulfilling whatever it is that's my purpose is. And I was so driven that I was losing myself in the process. And I would look around me, and even though in my head I was feeling wonderful and feeling like I'm going and I'm driven, and I would look around me and see things falling apart.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that feeling. I didn't like the feeling of being in church and watching my children saying, I'm tired, because we're running all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the feeling of, because I didn't like the feeling of me driven and going to every business meeting and every pursuing every dream, and watching my kids look at the window and wait for me to come back. Is she coming back? What time is she coming back?
Yeah.
That feeling of, I felt like, and I would, even though I knew it, because of what I knew I had to do and the responsibilities that I had, I let that overwhelm me. And then I realized, you know what? The key to being great is having balance.
Yes. And
Would
peace.
And peace.
Peace.
Peace. Talk about
You
that.
you have to have peace within yourself of who you are and what you're doing. You have to understand that without that peace, you really can't concentrate on what you're doing because you're so flustered and so confused about, okay, I got to be here, I got to be there, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to be there. It's just too much. There's no peace there. So without peace, you can't really focus on what it is that you really need to do in order to get where you really need to be. It's okay not to be running around here, running around to have 10, 20 appointments a day. It's okay. It is okay not to have that. It doesn't make you no less of a woman, not if you only have one appointment today. If you have no appointments that day, it's okay. You're still going to be phenomenal. You're still going to be who you are. You're still going to be wonderful. Just because society has everybody out there and looking at all of these social media things, everybody's doing this and doing that, and you're sitting there like, well, dang, I ain't doing nothing. But you are. You're being that wonderful person God ordained you to be, whoever it is, whatever it is. He may not need you out there running businesses and doing that. He may need you right where he has you to understand and speak to people, speak to his children when they need you. And that's where I am. I don't necessarily have to be out there, running a business and doing all of that. Although it seems like my husband's compelling me in that direction with his business. I know it's like, I'm coming, baby. I'm coming right along behind you. But it's okay because I'm okay with where I am with my life coaching. I have clients. I have women I speak to on the regular, or clients that come to me and say, I need to talk to you today or whatever. And that's fine with me because that's who I am. And I'm always there. I'm always there and I'm always available for them. And, people are like, well, why don't you have a business? Why don't you do that? And I didn't know you was that. When God puts it in your heart to come to me and speak to me, because you know who I am. Whoever knows me know who I am and know what I do. And they know that they can speak to me. And it's okay with me. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that because I know and I see that he has something so marvelous and great for me. And I'm not going to go out there and try to make it happen on my own. I'm following what he tells me to do when he tells me to do. I'm being obedient to what he tells me to move. I move when he tells me to move. Like this book, to me, it should have been out years ago. To him, he's like, I got you. I'm just going to keep putting people in your ear and putting people in your ear because eventually I know you're going to move in that and it's not going to be too late. It's not, because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, it's too late. This stuff is old stuff. This is, this happened like 14 years ago, whatever. In his mind, he's saying to me, it's not old. There's people out there who still needs to hear it. And I'm going to continuously put women in your path and men who are going to help move you into that direction that I need you to go. But I need you to hear me. And that's where that peace and that quiet, still place come into play with me, is when I sit my behind down, I be still and I hear what he say, and then he'll bring somebody to me. And I'll be like, okay. And then I'll pick it up and I'll, critique it and, edit it, do whatever I got to do to go over it. And I know it's going to come. I know it's going to come. And I'm just going to be patient and do and be obedient like he told me to be. And I'm good with that. I am good with that. I am so good with that. And that's where women have to get into that place where they're good with what they're doing. You don't have to perform for people every day. You don't, because you have days where you don't want to perform. And it's okay if you don't. And we have to understand that it's okay that we don't perform every day.
Yeah. I noticed that, and I'm gonna take a quick commercial break and then elaborate on it. But I really want to talk about I believe, and this is just my perspective, and about where the low self-esteem and the need for validation, I believe, has a lot to do with us comparing our lives to other people, things. seeing them succeed at a certain level and feeling like because we are not there that we're failing and not
Exactly.
realizing and understanding the seasons in our lives. So we're going to take a quick break and we're going to talk about that. I cannot wait to talk about that because I have some thoughts about that. And I know I could tell your brain is spinning.
Yes.
Stuff to say. So I'm looking forward to it. Guys, we are here with special guest Carolyn, life coach Carolyn Taylor, as she begins to share with us and dialogue with me in regards to life and business. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Do you have a business, product, or service that you want to share on the Sisterhood Check-in broadcast? Make sure you send us a message at becomingawomanofproverbs@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us at 470-560-5949. We look forward to partnering with you here on the broadcast. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget to join me and international holistic health and wellness coach Charmaine Harrison as we begin to discuss all things health every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. in the Wisdom Clinic. I'll see you on the inside. You sometimes get overwhelmed and discouraged. But let me read to you what Colossians chapter 1 says, verse 8. Who also declared unto us your love in the Spirit. For this cause we also, since the day we heard it, do not cease to pray for you, and to desire that ye might be filled with the knowledge of his will and all wisdom and spiritual understanding, that ye may walk worthy of the Lord unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of God, strengthened with all might according to his glorious power unto all patience and long suffering with joyfulness, giving thanks unto the Father, which has made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints of light. I just want to take the time to tell you, be encouraged. Don't let anybody take your light, and just know that God is always in control. And we are back with our special guest, Carolyn Taylor. And we were talking in the first segment where we ended, it was talking about understanding where I mentioned that I feel like I kind of sense where low self-esteem in women is actually stemming from. And I think a lot of it has to do, as I was saying, I was going to continue, is us comparing ourselves to other people. She's doing it well, and instead of using it as inspiration and motivation, what we do is we see it, we look at them as a mirror and begin to reflect our life from their mirror. And begin to think, oh my gosh, I must be this, I must be failing, I must not be a good mother because I'm not able to do this, and she's able to do this, she's able to do this for her children, I'm not able to do that. Not realizing that the greatest thing I've heard one time, I've heard a motivational speaker say, I think it was Jim Rohn said, that you can always, that there's seasons in our life, and you can always guarantee that after fall, there's going to be spring. There's going to be winter.
Yes, I like that. Yes.
And after winter, there's a pretty guarantee there's going to be a spring. And so, and after spring, he said, you can guarantee there's going to be a summer. And I realized that was such a freeing moment for me, because I felt like I'm in this season of life, and then this season things may be going a different way, or it might be going greater. And so you tend to look at other people who are you might be in a winter season, they may be in a summer season, and you begin to look in their lane, and you start to, instead of using it as motivation or encouragement of the possibility of what you have to look forward to when you get to that season,
exactly,
it's discouragement. And begin to look at yourself as a failure. And I think that's where the low self-esteem come. And I realized I was like that. I would look at people who were greater than, who I thought was greater than me, who I felt like, oh my gosh, I got it. It wasn't motivation. It was more like feeling like I don't measure up. And so I didn't learn how to appreciate the different seasons in my life and realize that until I got a little bit older and more experienced. And then I started to look back and say, you know what? This season of my life is just that. It's a season.
A season.
Yeah, it's a season. So I'm not going to allow the season that I'm in to determine my final destination.
Exactly. And you can't do that. You have to be where you are. You have to be.
Yes.
And that's what it is. We are afraid to just be, because just being means either I'm not doing what I should be doing, or what is my girlfriend going to say about me? What do they think about me? Am I not doing this? They're doing this and they're doing that. But see, if you don't surround yourself with powerful women, it don't matter what you're doing. Because if you surround yourself with negative women and you're trying to be powerful and you're trying to be what they're being, you're not going to get anywhere, because everybody's negative and everybody's doing the same thing, and that energy is not going to flow. You want that energy to flow. And if it's not flowing, it don't matter what you do. It just doesn't matter. And that's why you have to surround yourself with positive women, positive people all the time. Even if they're doing more than you, hang around them. See what they're doing.
Yeah.
Enjoy their company. You'll find out things about them that you're going to be like, wow, okay, I'm good. I'm good right where I am right now. I'm going to keep my behind right here and do what I'm going to focus on what I got to do, because you don't look like what you're going through right now. And there's a lot of women out there who do not look like what they've gone through or what they have gone through. And then there's a lot of women who want to be where they are. But you don't want to walk in the shoes where they had to walk in to get to where they are. Absolutely. Stop judging yourself against what other people are doing and focus on what you're doing. There's that peace and being still again. Because if you're being still, you understand what he needs, what he has for you. Give yourself that time. That confidence has to come somewhere. And unfortunately, the confidence, Thomas and I talk about this all the time. The confidence starts when you're young. It has to be something that's with you. It's very, very hard. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's very hard for a grown woman to develop confidence, because all their life they've been walking in that unconfidence that they don't have. When my daughter was born, it was like I didn't grow up. My mother didn't teach me confidence. Let's say that. She didn't teach me confidence. She didn't teach me how to love on a child. So I had to learn how to be a mother on my own. And I tried to gather that from other mothers of how to be a mother. But that didn't really work, because what works in somebody else's household may not work in your household. Absolutely. What works with somebody else's child may not work for your child. So I had to develop that of how to be. I was afraid to have a girl. I had that long conversation with God. He didn't listen to me. Thank God he didn't listen to me. I thank him. Because she's just such a jewel to me. She has taken me out of my boxes. Like, no, Mom, we need to do this. No, Mom, let's do this. Mom, I need to do. And I'm like, okay, that's not me, but we're going to do it, because I don't want to let you down. And hey, if you can do it, I can do it. So I had to learn how to be a mother to her. And one of my things was I wanted her to be proud of who she was. And I started teaching her that at a very, very young age. She runs track. So she started when she was 9. And when you run track, you're outside. That sun is beating down on you in the summertime. So she has this pretty cocoa skin. And in the summertime, it gets darker because she's outside. And there was a very close relative, that said to her when she was young, "Oh, girl, you're dark. Why are you so black?" And I stopped them in front of her and I said, that is not what we're going to do. She's beautiful. Her skin's beautiful. It doesn't matter what color she is. Because I didn't want her to feel like because she had that dark skin that she wasn't worthy. So I had to implant that in her then. And then in that moment, I realized I had to continuously plant in her how great and how wonderful, how beautiful she was. And now this girl, and whenever you meet her, you're going to be like, okay, the confidence in this young lady, she has confidence that amazes me. And I know that it was from the teachings of when she was younger, because I wanted her to have that, because it was like something I knew that I had, and I wanted to pass it on to her, because I had to have it, because it's just something I knew I had to have in order to make it and survive to where I am now. You know, you can't have no confidence and just not make it. It's like I knew I had to make it in my life. I needed to have that, and that's where it just developed, and it's been there. And I knew I needed to pass it on to her in order for her to have it, because I wanted her to be able to go out there in that world and do what she needed to do and be confident about it. And she's amazing. She does what she needs to do, and it's something that has to be taught to you. I'm not going to say have to be, but should be taught when you're younger. We need to implant these in our young girls, the confidence that they should have. Teach them that confidence. Teach them who they are. Speak life into them. Whenever I see a young lady, first thing I say to them is, hey, beautiful, how are you doing? And some of them look at me like, me? And I think I'm still talking to you. You're beautiful regardless. You know, that's what I say to them. It's like we have to teach them. As older women, we have to pour into these younger women and let them know that they're beautiful. Let them know that they're great and they can do wonderful things.
Yeah.
But we're so busy tearing them down and saying, oh, why are you wearing this? Why are you doing that? Speak to them, talk to them, because they don't know who they are. They don't know. But if we speak to them and if we continue to pour into them, they will start to understand who they are, and then they will pass it on.
Right. I agree. I think funny that you said that about your daughter, because I think once I became a parent, after I've gone through the trips of, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing, and oh my gosh, there was a point that I started that where I don't know if it was just the intuition or me understanding my ability to influence.
Mm-hmm.
I started to realize really early on in my parenting that once I made that choice to become a parent, once I made that choice, I may not know all the aesthetics and all the how-tos, but the one thing that I was able to do intuitively was influence.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and it was crazy because I spent most of their life in that mindset of influence.
Mm-hmm.
So everything I did, though I was still young and immature in other areas of my life, the one area that I felt like I was the most confident was influence when it comes to my kids. That was my first.
Mm-hmm.
It was my first example of leadership. It was my first example of influence.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I started to do was I started to shape our lives no matter what we went through. And I did this. It's funny because I think it really hit me. I had a mentoring program in Jacksonville, Florida some years ago. And so we did this test. And some of you that are watching that were a part of that group can attest to this. But we did a project. And so we took 2 bowls of rice, right? And so I had them name one group, and it had all positive words, love, I love you. Each of them had their own set. And I wanted to show them through influence the power of their words.
Yes.
And so in the other bowl, they had the same amount of rice, but we had negative words like I hate you, you're not good enough, and all of this stuff. I didn't even realize that was the first time I realized, like, whoa, this is really real. After about 7 days, we went back and we looked at the project. So each of them had words. I told them to write down things that had been spoken over their life that was negative and positive, to do it to each bowl of rice. And within the 7th day, Carolyn, everybody's rice that had the negative words turned practically black. I was shocked. Heck, let alone they were. I had never. And one of the girls' rice was a little bit blacker than the other one. Words. And I thought to myself, that was a reality. That was the beginning for me.
Yep.
Understanding the direction that I was going and my level of influence.
Exactly.
And that experiment changed my life. And I realized that as I was talking to my daughter, I've always taken moments and made them into teachable moments. Making them into teachable moments built a level of confidence, built a level of influence even in her to now, you know, she'll sometimes come to me and be like, nope. You're like, she has like unshakable self-esteem. Like
I love it.
You know, and I look at them and I think about the sacrifices that I've had to make, because I've had to make some really hard choices and sacrifices. But the thing I didn't sacrifice among everything else that I sacrificed, I didn't sacrifice the ability to create in them a mindset that you can become anything.
Yes, exactly.
And I look at my kids now and I'm so proud, and I think it was worth the sacrifice. And I used to remember hearing people directly and indirectly would say, well, you need to work more, you need to do this, and me working from home or being at home was frowned upon. Because,
oh girl, yes. Ooh.
Motherhood was not appreciated. We demeaned motherhood and made it seem like you got to get out here, you got to work 10,000 jobs because you are the breadwinner. And though you do have to provide, and they're going, again, like seasons, there are going to be seasons in your life where you might have to go hard. And then there are going to be seasons of rest where you get to slow down a little bit. But I think a lot of that comes into managing your finances and managing where you are and managing wants, you know, because sometimes we want more and more and more, and we have to learn how to manage what we have and learn how to be grateful for where we are.
You don't need all that. You don't need it. You just want it.
Don't. It doesn't serve a purpose, but to add, it doesn't mean that there's nothing wrong with having a desire, but sometimes our desire for more is motivated by greed.
By greed.
Motivated by validation, motivated by insecurity. And so we have to make sure that we have to pay attention. I told my kids this: pay attention to what you become on the way to where you're going.
Exactly. You are so right. Yeah. It's like, and like you, we are so amazed and so blessed that our children are where they are, you know, and we watch them and we hear what they say, and it's like, okay, they got that from us. Okay, then you know, it's like, oh, that one's just like you. Oh no, that one's just like you. Okay, he has your demeanor. And it's like you said, it's the influence, is what they see and it's what they've been around. And it's funny because sometimes I'll hear my son say like, okay, you know, that's not what mommy's gonna want. Okay, no, my mom is crazy. I'm not gonna do that. You know, I hear him say things like that because they're like, okay, they know you and they understand what you put in them. And I love that because it's like, okay, they are listening to me. Okay, they did hear this, you know, because sometimes we don't know. Because, you know, our children be like, yeah, okay, you just mommy, you just daddy, whatever, you know. But other people be like, yeah. And they're like, okay, why don't our children do that? But they secretly do it. So keep doing what you're doing because they are hearing you and they are receiving it. So just keep pouring into them. That's all. Just keep pouring. Because I'm like, and I tell them now, because they're 21 and 23, and I'm mommy. Just the other day, my daughter was doing something, and I was trying to tell her something, and she was saying something, and I looked at her, and I said, I'm mommy. Let me be mommy. Just let me do what I need to do. I will never stop teaching you. I will never stop pouring into you. So just accept it and keep moving. And she looked at me, she was like, okay, all right. And then she just went and she did what I asked her to do. I'm like, just let me be who I need to be in your life right now. I know who you are and I know what you're doing, but I still need to make sure that you're still growing and understand. You know, it's a job. It's a never ending job. And I love it. I love doing it. I love being in. I love doing it. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful feeling to be able to, it's a wonderful feeling, I believe, to be able to, hold on, let me get my camera back up. It came down.
No problem.
I think it's a wonderful feeling to be able to look back at your children and be able to say, man, though the sacrifice that I made was worth it.
Yes.
You know, I think it's a beautiful thing because we do sometimes look back and be like, man, I wish this or I wish that. But to know that, you know, no matter what, you have that to be, it's almost like what Proverbs 31 says, our children raise up and call us blessed.
Yes.
You know? That's a wonderful feeling.
Yes. Because I tell you, staying at home for 14 years, girl, that was a challenge. Woo, that was a challenge. I was like, okay, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? But the outcome, I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't. That's what God had ordained for me to do at that time. And it's funny because when I met my husband, I told him, don't even ask me why, but it may have been like the first time we went out or whatever. I told him, if we're going to do this, you need to understand I'm going to stay home with our children. If you can't handle that, then we may not need to be going forward right now. He understood that. And when it was time, he was ready.
Wow.
Put it out there, told him what my desires were, and he fulfilled it. And I was like, okay, we good now. We good. You know, and that's another thing with us women. We have to understand that people will treat you and do things to you if you allow it. They treat you the way you teach them how to do it. And people say, well, you know, I watched them and I understand who they are. You can watch that person. You can understand who they are. But if you don't teach them how to treat you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And we have to understand that as women, you know, if we desire something, we need to speak it. We need to understand it and ask for it. If it's about mate or whatever, they're not mind readers. We need to speak what we desire. We need to speak it and understand that we deserve it. Why don't you deserve it? If that's what you desire, why not deserve it? You deserve it too.
Right. And understanding, I think that comes the more you start to look at, because most of the time we're looking to other people to validate. Even in relationships, some people go into relationships for validation.
Yes.
But I think when you spend time, and I love what Miles Monroe said when he said that when you have two people that come together that are whole, and they come together, and she's who she is, he's who he is, and you come together and you're a power couple because you both bring a whole person to the table to where they're always fixing you. Doesn't mean they can't encourage you and lift you up, but if they're always fixing you, if they're always, for any person, naturally it becomes draining. But when you can lay your head in your husband's chest and be able to rest in knowing that he's there to cover you, to protect you, to provide for you, and then allow you and give you and allow you to be in an environment where you can blossom. To the woman nowadays, just the way we look at relationships now, it's more like what you do for me. And we don't practice forgiveness. The first time you piss me off, I'm out. Let me tell you something. I am learning which these red flags in relationships. I used to always overlook them because I used to always think, oh, everybody has problems, everybody. But what I started to realize is that when it comes to temperance, when it comes to patience, especially if you're dating and you have children, when your children, you have to be able to make sure that whoever it is that you're entering into a relationship with or attempting to, that they have patience. Because if they're quick tempered and they're ready to cut you off, that's a huge red flag. It's a huge red flag. And I overlooked that in several areas of my life. And then it wound up looking back, being in long-term relationships with people, and then you wake up and you're like, how did that happen? Baby, the flags were screaming at you, like, and
they're there. They are there.
And like, oh, but I'm in love. And so that's why I love the woman that I'm becoming now, and that's why I love encouraging other women, because I feel like, and I always say this, is that I help people take their experiences and turn them into life lessons, because there are a lot of things that we as women experience in a lifetime, as a mother, as a single person, as a wife, that we can teach. The Bible says older women should teach the younger women, how to be discreet, how to love their husbands, how to, we feel we are so, like I said, so driven by validation through success, that we don't realize that the greatest power that we have is being able to influence your children, influence your husband, influence your community. That's the greatest power that we have. And then the rewards of that begin to come, because the more you start to impact other people's lives and you begin to help them become who they are, then the rewards are just evident.
And exactly. But see, people are afraid to do that. They're afraid to help other people because they don't want them to get ahead of them. So I'm not going to help you because you might get ahead of me and I don't want you ahead of me. But that might be your blessing. That might be the door God needs you to open in order for you to move into what you need. So we have to stop being selfish with what we have and be able to share it.
Right.
And not be afraid to share it, and not always have to feel like, okay, you got to pay me for this because I told you this. You got to pay me for this because I told you that. Sometimes God just wants you to bless somebody in order for you to get another blessing. You have to understand that, but we are so selfish and we don't want to do that, unfortunately. I give away left and right. I don't care. I'm talking to you, whoever.
And that's why I think that's the difference between kingdom success versus success in the world, because in the world it's take. It's
yes.
I was listening to Grant Cardone this morning, and I said to myself, you mean to tell me all this time you look at people who are successful and commit suicide, successful in terms of having a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Right, because you can be wealthy and it, you know, you can be wealthy and have things and be balanced and be in the kingdom. But there are some people that, and when I heard him say this, he was like, I had to stop what I was doing. I was like, what? You mean to tell me all this stuff that everybody is teaching, and then he's saying, no, that's not it? And I'm like, but I knew this all the time. But we get conditioned.
Yeah.
We have to hear from other people who've gotten there and they realize this isn't really it. This isn't really living. What's really living is being at peace.
Peace.
Content.
Yes, peace.
With contentment is great gain. And there's nothing wrong with gaining materialistic things and gaining. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing.
That's not what's helping people sleep at night.
No.
People need peace, and that peace and they need not only peace, but sometimes they need instruction on how to live and govern themselves in their life. And so I was like, I had heard him say that, and he was like, no, life is not just about. I had to turn around and go, what? What?
Yes.
And I realized that I started to say to myself, okay, Nadira, well, you're okay. Now I started to see that success is defined differently to different people.
Exactly.
And in the kingdom, the success is different because our goal is to advance. It doesn't mean, and advance doesn't mean it's okay. I don't want to open up a can of worms with that. I'm going to just is that it being influential and being in a position to be influential and being coachable and teachable.
Yes.
Sometimes God put people in your life to teach you certain things. Because we are so stubborn and set in our ways, and we don't want to take I love the way Junior said something that really stuck with me. And he said, you rob people of the transformation when you don't allow them to invest in themselves. And I thought, now that's a different way to look at business in terms of and I thought, wow, because the reality is anything you give, there are some things you get, you create communities to give free things and you create communities to offer advice. But I feel like when you invest in yourself, it's a new level of accountability.
Yes.
And the reason why I say a new level of accountability, because when we put forth our money towards something, it represents our time.
Exactly.
It represents our time.
Yes.
So when you tell people, it's funny because if you give somebody something, if you give a child a BMW at the age of 5 years old, they're not going to value BMW, right? But once you give a BMW to somebody who has been taking time to prepare their life and prepare their mind and then they're more apt and conditioned to learn how to drive it. There are some things God withhold from us.
Yes.
Until we get to a point to where we mature in the areas of our mind, so it doesn't become an idol.
Exactly.
It doesn't become a replacement. It doesn't become a distraction from So sometimes when I look at things not happening or not going the way they need to go, I stop and I say, okay, hold on. Let's find out where the stinking root is.
Yes.
Let's find out where it is, because if I'm not growing and I'm doing all the, let me find out where the stinking thinking is. You know? Let me find out where I'm not balanced at.
Yeah, what's going on? Why am I not moving? Yeah, because something.
God gave it to me now, and my balance in areas of my life is going to take me away from my kids because it's going to be more busy. It's going to take me away from from spending time with God because I'm busy. So when I look at things not going at the pace, I no longer look at. I think I use a couple of things to look at that. I look at, where have I lost focus at?
Yes.
Where have I lost balance at? Because because if I'm putting in the investment in my work, where's the unbalance? And we don't talk about that because we feel like we gotta have it all together.
You gotta have it all. You gotta be together. Can't look like you don't have it together. Yeah, exactly. You gotta have it all. I'm the first one to tell you, wait, I need to go. I need to back up a little bit. I need to think for a minute. It's like, I value me, so I'm gonna take care of me so I can help take care of you and whoever else. Because if I'm not together, I can't help you. If I'm like feeling ugly, there are days when I feel like, ugh, and I make a point to laugh every day, a minimum, at least an hour. If it means turning on a sitcom and it's in the background while I'm working, and I'm going to laugh, because I need to be in that place that if someone comes to me, I need to be able to speak life into you. I can't be feeling ugly and you come to me with an issue and I'm looking at you like, and the problem is, I can't do that. That's not where God placed me. So I make it a point to laugh by myself every day. Now my husband keeps me laughing all the time because he just say and do things, and I'm like, Thomas, for real. And his son has the same sense of humor. Darian has the same sense of humor, so they keep me laughing. And I get dressed. There are days, when you work from home, you tend to forget.
Yeah,
you gotta get dressed.
Yes,
even if you're not going nowhere. Last year was tough because it was every day wearing leggings and I wasn't coming. I was like, wait a minute, I need to get dressed because I don't want to look at myself like this every day. So I make it a point to get dressed. Not every day. I'm not even gonna lie, because I don't do it every day, but I make a point to get dressed, put on my makeup or whatever. Not makeup, because I don't wear makeup, only lipstick and stuff. Do my hair, whatever. I make it a point because it makes me feel good. It validates who I am. It's not big, it's not small. I'm not out there trying to run no business, but this is me. This is my business right here. And if I don't take care of this business, I can't help you. I can't do what God put into me. Yeah, I gotta be ready, because
mental state. As a man thinking in his heart, even the Bible says, as a man thinking in his heart, so is he. So when you take those days and you begin to get dressed, it changes your state of mind. That's why I'm like, I love that, when Coach tells us, we have to be up early and, and be up and ready. And I'm like, oh gosh, I'm working on that. So I realize that, because sometimes I'll be like, one eye half open, like, and one eye, like, I'm like, oh Jesus, like, oh my gosh. But I realize that it's a state of mind.
Yes.
Where you show up and you read, it changes your state.
It does.
How you think,
It does. Yes. When you feel like you're looking good and feeling good, you're more able to go out there and do what you're supposed to do. You're more able to perform. You have a clarity in your mind that says, okay, I can do this. And when somebody comes to you with something, you're able to be like, okay, let's walk through this and think about it. But if you don't feel like you're put together, you don't have time for that. You're like, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. But when you feel good, when you feel that you look good, you're gonna make it happen.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna make it happen. You're gonna feel good all day. Yeah. You're gonna feel good all day.
I feel like I'm at my best when I feel like I feel like I operate at my best when I do get dressed up and I do take time to care for me, as an individual, not as a business person, not as a mom, not as a, anything else. But when I take the time to care for me, it changes my state of mind. And I realized, like today, I was like battling whether or not if I wanted to wear this silver bow. And I was like,
it looks good, girl.
And then I was like, well, do I take it off? Do I put it on? And then I said, Nadir, what do you like?
Exactly.
What do you like? Do you like the bow?
And that's all that matters.
And I was like, do I look crazy? Do I look like this? And she was like, no, I support you just the way you look. And I thought to myself, like, you know what? What do you like? And I think what happens is we get used to people telling us what to do all the time.
Yes. And how to look.
Sometimes it takes away from our ability to see ourselves as capable of making decisions that are right for us, even if they're wrong. I wish I would have learned this though. Honestly, I wish I would have learned this in my parenting with my older kids were younger. I never wanted them to make a mistake. I was like, no. I was like really adamant, like, no. I'm not fit. No. And though it did save them from a lot of things that could have been extremely bad. But sometimes I look at, and I remember some of my friends would say, you have to let them experience, certain things. And I used to tell them, some things you're going to learn by experience, and some things you're going to learn from watching other people. And now I see, being older, and sure, I realize that those experiences that they go through help them to develop the confidence to overcome situations that they go through. It helps them to be able to trust their own instincts and their own decisions. But we feel, with me, I just was like, no, I don't want them to, but and that's good when they're little, because when they're little, they don't know how to maneuver through that.
Exactly.
But as they become teenagers, we have to position ourselves differently to be able to, like, I remember my daughter was wanting to date boys, and she must have been like 15 or 16. And I was like in paranoid mode, because the guy that she was dating, he was like touching her. And I'm thinking about when I was 15, and I'm like, no, he's trying to get something for her virginity, And I'm like, it was funny because my girlfriend, I used to watch her daughter for her sometimes, and she would sit at the table, Carolyn, and he would come over to spend some time with my daughter, and she would shut her eyes like this every time he would come in the room. So I would say, Kayla, what are you doing? She was like maybe 2 or 3, and she would close her eyes every time he walked past the room. She would close her eyes, and I would say, Kayla, open your eyes, and she'd be like, oh. And so, but when he would leave, she would like open up one eye, and then she would open up her eyes. I would be like, is he evil? Like, what is going on? Right? She's shutting her eyes like, hear no evil, see no evil.
Yeah.
And he wound up, I see why the baby closed her eyes at the time. And so I was seeing them at the pool, and I was going in panic mode, like, he's after her virginity. And I was just like, no. And so I would watch them like hugging. And I think I must have sweat like so many bullets that day. And a friend of mine who wound up being my husband later on was like, Nadira, I didn't want to hear pray. I didn't want to hear, I was like, no, I'm finna go out there and yoke this joker up, because he is not finna take her virginity.
Oh my God.
They were in the pool, and I'm watching them, and I'm in like freak out mode, because I was watching other kids who had already been, very sexually active and pregnant. And I was like scared. I was like, no, And so one day, and it's funny because I eventually had to allow her to learn. And I saw her one day, she was crying on the balcony where we lived at. She was crying. And I went outside and I said, what's wrong? And she said, I broke up with him because he wanted me to have sex with him. And I thought about what you said. And she said, I decided that I didn't want to do it. So he broke up with me, and it broke her heart.
Yeah.
Yes, like inside, I was like, yes. But a part of me was like, it was a lesson to me to realize I can trust the teaching that I give them if I'm consistent. And if I also live by the same principles, if I live it and not just say it, they're more apt to hold on to what I say, because children don't hear what you do. They see what you do.
Exactly. They're watching you.
And I thought, and that was like a pivotal moment in my life. And I realized as she got older, I began to not be so full of anxiety, because I positioned myself to say, if she can hold out in that area, and not allow some boy to come and take her virginity, then she'll be like that in other areas. And it was almost like that. It wasn't like that. It was like some areas were a little more, more parenting.
Yeah.
But it taught me that we have to, as parents, it's our job as mothers is crucial, and it's not to be underestimated. And the job that we're doing is very difficult, and it is hard, and that should be our main priority. And everything that we build should be as a result of who we become.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially if you have girls, because they're watching you. They are truly watching you. They're watching how you dress, how you move, what you eat, what you think, what you say. They are watching. They are watching. And you want them to understand that I am a wonderful woman, and I need you to be a wonderful woman. And this is how we're going to get on that path of becoming that woman. Mm-hmm. You just have to be mindful of how you are around them and who you bring around them.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm telling you, I am enjoying this dialogue and this conversation. I'm telling you, there's such a flow here.
Yes, I am enjoying this too.
I am like enjoying it. This is like amazing, but we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
So that Carolyn can get a sip of water and I can get me a sip of tea, and you guys
ma'am.
Your tea and your coffee or whatever it is that you drink at night. But we're going to be back with special guest Carolyn Taylor. You guys make sure you join us for our last segment. We're going to go over your comments. And if you have any questions for Carolyn, make sure you put it in the comments, and we'll be back to answer your questions after this.
Refugees, dirty immigrants, asylum seekers, job stealers, that is what they see. Beautiful faces, thick accents, a melting pot of culture, holding 3 to 4 jobs, back pocket of hopes and dreams, seekers of opportunities, that is what we see. I am Georgia Lawrence, the founding attorney of Georgia Lawrence LLC. I was born and raised in Jamaica. I migrated to the United States with 2 suitcases and $200 to seek a better life. I understand firsthand the importance of having a fighter on your team to navigate the complexity of the immigration system. Hence the reason I chose immigration and human rights law. Here at Georgia Lawrence LLC, we take pride in connecting our passion and purpose to your plan. Give us a call today.
What's going on, guys? It's Daily Trades with Chris here. I'm hosting a 7-day webinar for you to understand how to trade the stock market, futures market, and the Forex market. This one particular trading strategy has 3 steps, okay? Very simple. All you have to do is look for a trade, place your trade, and watch your trade play out. In this 7-day webinar, I'm going to be going over exactly how to get into the market, where to get out of the market, where to set your stop loss, take profit, and you're going to have a risk management rule in place too as well. Now, this Z trade, in fact, just dropped 400 points on oil. If you do the math on that, that's about $4,000 just from one contract. If you want to learn how to make $4,000 in one single day with the Z trade, respond back to this email right here. Comment below in this video, and I'll get back to you with all the information that you're looking for.
All right, we are back with special guest Carolyn Taylor. Oh my gosh, I am having so much fun tonight.
I am too.
just engaging with you. You're just such a breath. Their presence is such a breath of fresh air.
Thank you.
And I always love talking to you and Thomas. You guys are amazing. I love your spirit, your excitement. You guys just bring such a calmness when I talk to you guys. You guys are just so amazing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I am excited. Well, we are in our last segment.
I know. I'm enjoying this.
No, like we are. I'm like so excited. I'm like, oh gosh, I done woke up. I was feeling tired. I'm like, my spirit. I'm like awake now.
I know, me too. I'm like, okay, we gotta stop. No, we don't have to stop.
I'm so serious, like, but that's how it is, you know. When in the beginning, when we're, you know, and that's why I wanted to create this broadcast, as I mentioned, as a way for us to have conversations.
Yes,
because I think we're always talking at people, but talking to people and letting people hear conversations that are relatable to where you are. Kind of, you know, you can go back and look and be like, oh wow, you know, I felt that way too. Now I don't feel so bad, you know.
Exactly.
You know, she's gone through this. Carolyn's gone through this. Okay, I understand now. So I love being transparent because I want people to know the process to getting through. The process to a breakthrough is not just in a quick snap in a hurry.
Nope.
It's not a quick fix.
Nope.
It is ability. It's the ability to be able to take your experiences and enjoy the journey. I used to tell my kids all the time, don't just rush to the destination. Make sure you embrace the journey, because there are nuggets. I call them tools. Like I did when I wrote my first book, which many of you have already known. When I wrote my first book, if you haven't gotten my book, then you can get it on Amazon.
All right.
Bestseller. I'm already a 5-star. Thanks to you guys so much. I appreciate it. But what I realized is that I told my daughter, I said, make sure you enjoy the journey so that you're not rushing to a destination, because you're going to realize if you just rushing to the destination, you're going to lose. You're not going to know how to use all the tools that are in your toolkit. Every time there's a movie that my late husband had given me. And gosh, I wish I could find that movie. I can't find it anywhere. It used to be on Netflix, and now Netflix has taken it away. I've been to every bookstore. I just cannot find it. I've even looked online. It's just done away with. There are 2 movies that I just want to sit down with my kids and just watch it over and over again. And the first one is Time Changer. And it's not the Time Changer that comes up now. It's not the same one. This was like with I think Gavin's, I forgot his last name, but it talked about what happened. Gavin was writing a book, and he was a part of a Christian college, and he was with a bunch of his colleagues, so other professors, and writing a book, and they were talking about the authority of Christ. And they were saying, and Gavin was objective about, very, you know, outspoken about a book that they were writing, that they were doing a collaboration on. And he said he was refusing some of the documents and stuff that what they were adding to it. And he said he was refusing it because he foresaw them take away from the authority of Christ in the future. And so he wanted to change. He wanted to take certain things out because he knew it would shape it will reshape the next generations that come, their perspective about the Christ. It was a really good movie. So he got a glimpse of through the movie. He got a glimpse of what it was looking like, how they were no longer honoring principles of the Word of God, like thou shalt not steal and stuff like that. And so he got to see firsthand like how it was affecting, how even evangelism has been affected now, how everything was mediarized and nothing was centered around Christ. It was really good. So I cannot find that anywhere. And then the second one was Pilgrim's Journey. And Pilgrim's Journey talked about, it was a physical, it was kind of like these 2 guys, it was like a physical illustration of what happens spiritually when you're walking with God. And all the things that happen, but it was in a physical form, and it was talking about the journey. It was really good. I watched that movie at least 10 times. Like but I can't remember. I think I let somebody borrow it. I lost track after that. But what it really showed me is the importance of making sure, above all things, like I said in the beginning of the broadcast, is that we're understanding the power of our influence. And the more we tap into who we are and our capabilities and abilities, we're not so easily torn or driven or tossed to and fro by what somebody thinks about us or how they feel about us. And you might be able to flow a little bit freely in your gifts, because I believe, and I was thinking about this the other day, I believe sometimes, you know, a lot of our stagnation comes because we're still looking for validation. In certain areas of our life. And until you feel like you've received that certain sense of validation, you don't really function at your full potential. But the minute you start to feel like, oh wow, you know, I can do this, and you start to flourish in ways. I had to evaluate that myself. I flourish better when I am in a point where I am really fully in awareness of who I am and my abilities begin to be known to me, and I begin to grow. But the minute I start, that confidence comes as a result of competence. So I realized that, wait a minute, you have everything that you need to become the person that you are or that you need to be, and you have to learn how to you need to just change how you view. Your perspective has to change. I want to go over some of our comments. We've been having a lot of engagement. Carolyn said, good evening, Carolyn. And she says, most definitely, influence is the greatest power. Yolanda says, good evening.
Internet, hello.
And Gwen says, good evening. Gwen is actually a new author. She's gonna be writing her first book. And oh my gosh, I wish I was in Jacksonville to attend her event. But you guys in Jacksonville, make sure you attend Gwen's her signing and release party. I bet it's gonna be awesome.
Congratulations, Gwen.
Yes, it's called PIMP. PIMP.
PIMP. All right.
PIMP. Antoinette said, amen. There's a time that we have to chill.
Amen, Antoinette.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And this is from my aunt. She says, be still and know that I am God.
Amen. Yes, ma'am.
Carrie Franklin says, you're amazing.
Psalms 46.
That's right. Amen. Amen. Carrie Franklin says, you're amazing, and I'm so proud of where you are from and where you have been. Much love, sis. Thank you, Carrie. She also says, obeying God's timing is the biggest blessing.
Amen.
Oh, absolutely. Timing is everything.
It is.
Internet says, more like tormenting ourselves by measuring ourselves by others.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Especially us women, we're too competitive.
We are.
We really are.
We have to learn to love on each other. We really do.
Yes.
We really do.
And appreciate our differences. You know, we're alike in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways we're different. And those differences are not supposed to make us competitive. It's supposed to make us supportive and be able to see, because we were each born to solve a problem. So if you're born with a solution to a problem that your generation or my generation has, I embrace it. We should embrace it. Absolutely. Then she says the way up often is to help someone else up. Absolutely. Yes. I totally agree with that.
I agree with that totally.
Absolutely. Right. We must be careful not to become robots. Yes, absolutely, Antoinette. And she yes, she says their experiences help them into their becoming. Even our children are becoming. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I believe the more transparent we are with them, which I was always afraid to do. I was always afraid to be transparent because I was like, I don't want them to know certain areas of my life. But the more transparent we are, oh my gosh, they learn, they get to take part in those lessons too.
And they get to see you as being human and not just mommy and daddy.
Yes.
Like, okay, yeah, you did that. Okay, I see you did that. I know you did that too. Yeah. They get to see you as being human also.
It was funny. I was writing my book and I showed my daughter actually helped me with the cover of my book. And so it was funny because as I was writing the book, I'm like, oh my gosh, the things they're gonna see. But but the thing, I didn't even really put everything. I'm gonna really put everything in my next book, Don't Die in a Storm. That one's going to be really, I'm going to really get into some details, but I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want them to, but they knew as they got older, we would have conversations and I would share with them some of the things I went through and they would go, okay, mom, TMI. TMI. And I'm like, no, you want to know, right? TMI, mom. TMI. That's just too much information. Yes. But Internet says we're better together when we're operating in unity. Absolutely. Unity in the same goal, and that is to be an influence.
Yeah.
An influence because to serve. I love that.
To serve.
Yes.
That's what we're here for.
Any lasting comments or anything you want to say to us, Carolyn? Because I'm telling you, you've been blessing us, girl.
Well, let's see. What would I like to say to my sisters? I would just like to say, keep your head up, stay strong.
Yes.
Love on you. Understand that you are the most important thing in person. And if you're not together and if you're not at peace with yourself, you cannot help anyone else. Embrace your sisters. Tell them that they're great. Tell them that you love them.
Yes.
Don't judge them. There may be someone who needs to cry on your shoulder. Let them cry on your shoulder. Don't put their business out in the street.
Right.
They may just need to hear you. They may need you to just listen to what they have to say.
Yes.
When someone comes to you, it doesn't necessarily mean that they need you to help solve their problem. They just may need to just get it off their chest.
Yes.
So be able to listen and hear and embrace them and hug them.
Yes.
Whatever you do, just love on you. Know that you're important. You're special. God has something very special for you. Enjoy your peace. Take time to be still and listen. In that stillness is when you will hear what God has truly for you. Love him. Love on yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Antoinette says she is really enjoying this. Thank you, Antoinette.
Thank you, Antoinette.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I am enjoying it too.
I like her.
I do. I love the engagement because
yes,
like I said, the whole goal is to be impactful and to be able to take your experiences and things that you've gone to and use them as life experiences for somebody else. It just means that there's some things and challenges you may have gone through, but you never know who might need to hear. There's people who don't comment and watch. I know.
Yeah.
I see.
But they're taking it in. Oh, and another thing. Understand that you teach people how to treat you. So if someone is not treating you the way you want it to be treated, no matter who it is, evaluate yourself and see what you're allowing that person to do.
Yes.
And walk away if it's not what you want.
Yeah.
But understand that it's not their fault, it's your fault the way they're treating you, because that's what you're allowing in your life. It's your space.
Right.
You allow what's in that space.
Right. It's like what Trent says, protecting your peace. Sometimes we don't spend enough time protecting our peace. And part of protecting your peace is being able to understand what kind of environment, having dominion over your environment.
Yes.
Knowing what type of environment you want. If you know that you have a household, like me especially, I like peace. I like my sleep. I'm faithful to them now. I'm telling you, I like peace and I don't like chaos. And so when I start to feel like there's going to be chaos, I immediately shut down because I want to protect my peace.
I walk away.
And I told my son that. I said, even as an entrepreneur, I told him, I said, the biggest thing you have to protect is your peace of mind. Because as entrepreneurs, if we have to protect how we feel, how we think, because it affects how we live, especially if your livelihood depends on it.
Yes.
You have to fight to protect your peace. And so that is something that I am constantly working on, is making sure that if it doesn't add value to who I am or where I'm becoming, I have to immediately shut the door.
Yes. And walk away and know that it's okay.
And sometimes you have to shut the door for a moment, and sometimes you have to shut the door for a season, and sometimes you have to shut the door completely.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Evaluate that bad boy. Is that going to be good for me?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm good. I'm going to walk over here.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Well, Carolyn, it has been a blessing.
Yes.
I'm like so excited that you have accepted my invitation, and
Thank you
I
for
can't wait to bring
inviting
you
me.
back. You're welcome. I can't wait to have you back to talk about your book. I know it's going to be amazing. So I cannot wait. You guys look out for Carolyn. Carolyn's going to be right. She's in the process of writing her book. Hopefully, I've got to connect you with a friend of mine that actually that is her expertise.
Okay.
And she is really good at helping people bring their books together.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
and
good.
Really,
it's actually done. It's done. It's just that,
Yes, and she's really good at really helping. And we'll talk more about that afterwards. But thank you guys. So thank you so much for just being a guest. I so love this.
I know. I had such a great time. Thank you for inviting me, sweetheart.
Too bad. I told you it wasn't too bad.
I know, right?
15 minutes. Like 15 minutes. You're like, girl, what? Like you're like up. We like we're all uptight. Even me. Like in the beginning, I'm like, whew. But then after,
you know what I say? Obedience is better than sacrifice.
Yes.
So when you called upon me, I was like, oh God. I was like, okay, I gotta be obedient. I gotta do this. It's better than sacrifice. So here I am. And I thank you, baby.
And I appreciate all the wisdom that you have imparted into us. And I just speak many, many blessings over your life and over your husband's life. And I pray that God will continue to use you and your husband as examples. Examples of a healthy relationship, a healthy marriage. To see that you guys just been celebrating 26 years is amazing.
We've been together for 35.
Wow, that's
a whole nother story.
Amazing. And your presence between you and Thomas, I'm telling you, you guys light up the room no matter where you go. And that's amazing. I told Thomas, I said, boy, your wife look good. I was like, your wife is the bomb.com. Like,
thank you.
I was like, Thomas, I was like, you did good, brother man. You done did good. She is great.
Thank you, darling. Thank you very much. I accept that. You have to build up that confidence level there, girl.
I was like, she is all the way together. Like, for real. Like, boom, bam, bam. Talk about motivation. I'm like, dang, that's goals right there. That's goals.
You're beautiful.
Inspired. Thank you. Thank you.
You are beautiful.
I said, shoot, that's gold. That's hashtag relationship goals right there. Like, wow. So
thank you, darling.
You guys are amazing. And make sure you guys join us on Saturday, on actual Sunday. Thomas and I are hosting. We host every Sunday. We're calling it Dinner with the Coaches. We were trying to figure out a name or what to do it, and we also have guest panelists, guest coaches. Also, we have Charmaine Harrison, our international herbalist and holistic coach, and our confidence coach, Kayla Kravitz. And I'm telling you, Kayla and Charmaine bring such interesting perspectives from different areas that I love it. And we also have Latrell. Latrell also may be joining us also, and a host of different other panelists. Every week, it's going to be different panelists. And so I'm looking forward to this Sunday. So make sure you join us, and make sure I'll put the link up. It's going to be up probably more than likely Saturday, because I can promise you that when we get done, I'm going to bed. I'm doing a ministry of sleep. That's right. But yeah, join us Sunday at 7 p.m. after you've had your fellowship, after you've had your dinner, after you put the kids to bed for school. Make sure you join us for dinner with the coaches as we talk about all things life and business. And Antoinette says, I love the Sunday nights. Girl, we've been on fire. I love
her. I love Antoinette.
We're going to keep going. We've been on fire. I'm telling you, it's so funny because when you get in the flow, and it's like God just start connecting you with people with different expertise to add who you are. I'm just so grateful for this season of my life of people that God is introducing me to that are making phenomenal changes in my thinking and how I just love it. I love our coach. I love, the fact that just everybody that's just been in the midst of our community. I really love it. It's been a blessing. So make sure you join us Sunday at 7 p.m. for Dinner with the Coaches. I like the sound of that.
I do too. I like that.
So hopefully you'll join us, Carolyn. Hopefully you'll join us. So because we trying to get some more men because we got the women that are like,
Yes.
you know. But Thomas is supposed to be working on getting us some men so we can have
get you some men. He gonna get you some men. He will.
So we gotta have your voice. You have such a powerful voice and a powerful impact with women. I would really love to be able to have you on the panelist if you have time. I know you're a mom and you're doing all the behind the scenes stuff, but if if the Lord's soul just happened to just put it on your heart, I just want you to know that you are welcome. And
one Sunday I will join you. One Sunday I will join you.
Great. Well, I'm gonna hold you to that.
Yes, ma'am. I will not let you down.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, guys, we are come to the end of our broadcast, and we appreciate you. Make sure if you want to watch the replay, you can watch the replay on YouTube at bit.ly/WOP YouTube, which stands for Woman of Proverbs YouTube. Or you can just come back to my page and watch it here on the page. Just scroll down the page, click play, and you can watch it from the beginning. Thank you so much for all your support and engagement. I always tell everybody that just like hurt people, transform people can transform people too. And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Do you have a business, product, or service that you want to share on the Sisterhood Check-in broadcast? Make sure you send us a message at becomingawomanof-proverbs@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us at 470-560-5949. We look forward to partnering with you here on the broadcast. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget to join me and international holistic health and wellness coach Charmaine Harrison as we begin to discuss all things health every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. in the Wisdom Clinic. I'll see you on the inside. You sometimes get overwhelmed and discouraged. But let me read to you what Colossians chapter 1 says, verse 8, who also declared unto us your love in the Spirit. For this cause we also, since the day we heard it, do not cease to pray for you and to desire that ye might be filled with the knowledge of his will and all wisdom and spiritual understanding, that ye may walk worthy of the Lord unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of God, strengthened with all might according to his glorious power unto all patience and long suffering with joyfulness, giving thanks unto the Father, which has made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints of light. I just want to take the time to tell you, be encouraged. Don't let anybody take your light, and just know that God is always in control.